Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Naso here from IPR365.com with continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Beryl, which continues to bear down on the coastline of the United States. Now, as we take a look at the entire Atlantic basin, we are still a couple of days away from the official start of hurricane season. Nevertheless, we do have a rather potent tropical storm bearing right there down on the coast of northeast Florida and Georgia. Heavy rainfall, strong gusty winds already impacting that region. We are going to take a look right now at the latest on Tropical Storm Beryl, which became fully tropical this afternoon. As of 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Beryl was sitting at 30.0 north, 80.3 west. Winds were up to about 65 miles per hour. Now, it doesn't look like Beryl's going to have time to become a hurricane, but she's sure getting close. It's moving west at 10 miles per hour, and that motion should continue into landfall later this evening or tonight. And the pressure's down now to 996 millibars. And again, depending on where you're at in that circulation, you could have wind gusts up to hurricane force. We've already seen that measured at flight level a little bit. Now, the track here through time is to take the system inland, and it should still be a tropical storm as it moves pretty far into North Florida, and then slow down, and by Tuesday afternoon still be here in southern Georgia as a depression, and then eventually move back out and become extratropical and start to accelerate Wednesday night, Thursday night, and by the start of the weekend be way out in the northern Atlantic. We won't have to deal with it, and hopefully nothing else much in the hurricane season for the next couple of months. But again, this is certainly something we're going to have to keep an eye on. You can see our tropical storm watch here continues from inland areas of Georgia. We do have the warning from areas of Brevard County all the way up to Edisto Beach, South Carolina, because the system has such a large area of tropical storm force winds. You can see here tropical storm force winds extend out over 100 miles, and they're already impinging here on the coastline of Florida. And as the system continued to spin, we've seen that wind area continue to contract as the system has become now fully tropical, which is why we are so concerned about it, because obviously tropical systems are able to intensify. Rather, subtropical systems don't really have that opportunity. You can see now on the RGB image, Beryl continues to look much better defined than earlier. That convection wrapping now around the center of circulation has good western side, good outflow. Shear really isn't a problem for the system, and as a matter of fact, the wind shear analysis does show that the system really isn't under a lot of shear, maybe 10 knots at most. So it's not really the upper level conditions, it's more the dry air and the cool waters that we're dealing with that are continuing to make Beryl a system that we are going to watch. You can see the shear tendencies here not looking very strong for it, but nevertheless it is still not even June yet, which is why we're not worried about significant strengthening or anything you'd underline as being significant. Now, as we look at another vantage point of Beryl from the visible satellite imagery, you can see the system spinning up there very, very nicely. And as we look at the infrared, even better, you can see that continued motion and intensification into a tropical system that we've been watching thus far. Now, as we move to the radar, you can see out of Jacksonville, Florida, the radar continues to show an organizing tropical system. Note here how it's becoming more concentrated near a center rather than far away and not really having any inner core or anything that would even resemble an inner core. That's why it was subtropical. Now that it's tropical, we're beginning to see that organization. And as we zoom in here, you can see Jacksonville, St. Augustine. You are getting closer and closer. Look at this. The outer band, some of the strongest winds of the system are starting to come into close range here. Green Cove Springs, Jacksonville, St. Augustine, up towards Fernandina Beach further to the north. All of you are going to see some serious wind impacts as we're already getting wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour along the Florida coastline. But you can see that continued motion there as the system will keep that westward motion right inland and then eventually take a very slow turn up. Heavy rainfall is the threat with this system, no doubt about that. So we're going to continue to watch Beryl. Stay tuned to IPR365.com for continuous updates and information, as again, it's not going to become a hurricane, it doesn't look like, but nonetheless significant impacts are already beginning along the Florida coastline. I'm Mike Naso from IPR365.com. I'll see you next time.